Dear friends, we are starting with the design of structures 1 practicals today, and in these practicals we are going to design a building. We are going to take a building, we are going to understand what is the requirement of the building, and then as per the requirement we will be doing the design. We will be doing the design of the slabs, the beams, the columns, foundations, staircases, lintels, churches, everything in it. That's going to be the part of our term. Now whenever any plan is given to us, whenever the drawings are given to us, what we first need to do is we need to read all the plans properly, understand and check all the architectural drawings, get to know the requirements of the owner, what exactly he wants, what type of building is desired. That is exactly what we need to understand. What was the thing in his mind? What is the amount he is ready to spend on the structure? All this. At the same time, we need to understand, as far as the structure is concerned, what is the purpose of this structure? What are the functions, or what is the functionality? What would be the use to which it would be put? We need to look at the drawings again, understand the drawings from this aspect. Everything as far as the plans are concerned, as far as the structure is concerned, we need to know. We are the engineers. We are going to get the dream into a reality. So we need to know this before we begin. So this is the beginning. If there is any doubt, try to consult the architect to get the clarifications. Try to get in touch with the owner for his requirements. There may be some special needs, like there may be piping to be done. Will it interfere with the structural design? There may be something like AC conduits to be provided, or water to be provided, that is heated water, treated water, or plumbing lines. Would that be interfering with any of the design elements? Something like maybe beams or the slabs may need to be punctured, or will some element interfere over there? All that we need to understand. We also need to understand from the drawings whether it is a high-rise structure, is it a heritage structure, how many stories or floors does the structure have, what are the codal provisions in the region, is that region where the structure is about to come, is that region a seismic region, what activity as far as the earthquakes are concerned are prevalent in the region. Is it zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, whatever? Those things we need to know about the region. What would be the wind intensity? How much snow occurs over there? All these things we need to get a clear picture on. We also need to understand everything clear cut without any ambiguity. Finally, when it is very clear in one's mind what exactly is coming up over there, then it is easier to decide, and then only one has to decide what type of structure should be proposed. Should it be framed or load bearing, or should it have shear walls? Many a times architectural constraints, architectural requirements decide what type of structure has to come over there. It may be framed, it may be load bearing, or whatever type. Once decided, we need to go ahead. When that is given, look at the plans. Now look at this. Over here, I've just taken an example, a simple example in which a room has been shown in plan. It's a structure with only one room, that is 3.5 meters by 4 meters. These are the clear internal dimensions. Now the owner wants that there has to be a RCC roof slab provided for this room, and at the same time the owner wants a RCC framed structure. The owner has told us, prepare the structural framing plan and compute the loads acting on the various members or the elements of the structure. Now one thing is very clear, that the owner wants a RCC framed structure for this. Another thing which is very clear is that this is only a room and we are supposed to provide roof slab on top of this. One roof slab, and for that roof slab whatever elements are required, we are required to provide in this room. Understand the structure. The structure is rectangular. It's having clear dimensions as 3.5 meters by 4 meters. The smaller dimension is 3.5 meters. The other longer dimension is 4 meters. It's having walls on all its 4 sides. Given this, we proceed further. Having got the understanding of this, let us move further. Now, first thing, in a frame structure, what one would be required to do is place the columns. The columns locations we find are the best at the corner of the room. Normally, wherever there is a corner, wherever there is a change in direction, one would place the column. Preferably, as per the design, whatever we have been carrying out for years together, it has been the experience that column spacing is best in between 3 meters to 5 meters. Generally, it is kept in between 3 meters to 5 meters itself. We find that somewhere around 3.5 to 4 meters is the limit. Further than 5 meters, if we extend 5 meters, if it goes on to 5.5 meters, 6 meters, 7 meters, it does not mean that we cannot design. We can design, but the design becomes more and more expensive as the spacing between the columns increase. That is because the sizes of the beams, the supporting elements, I mean to say, the sizes goes on increasing. When the sizes go on increasing, the steel goes on increasing because the bending moments goes on increasing, and then it goes on becoming more and more uneconomical. Generally, rectangular columns in plane, the cross section, are preferred. But unless the architectural requirement is there, rectangular only is preferred. But if the architect wants, other than rectangular are provided. Like you must have noticed, in the temples, we generally don't have rectangular columns. We have circular or the ones with architectural effects. So over there we would prefer circular. At some places we may find L cross section columns. So when the architect needs it, we need to provide. Well, it is also true that sometimes the structural design also may necessitate certain cross sections. But as I mentioned, generally rectangular columns in plan are preferred in design. Going ahead, now how do we locate the column? At the corners where the direction changes, we provide the column. Now, whenever we are providing the column, what would be the dimension of the column? We would prefer keeping one side of the column equal to the wall thickness. Whatever is the wall thickness, we would try to keep the side of the column equal to the wall thickness, then we would orient the column, we would position the column in the direction of the long beam. It is kept in the direction of the long beam because by keeping it this way, the span of the long beam will be reduced. If we position it in the direction of the short beam, the shorter length of the beam, then shorter length of the beam is in any case the smaller length, the bending moment would be lesser. It would be much wiser to keep it in the longer direction because then the longer span would get reduced by those many centimeters. It would provide the benefit of reducing the steel in the beam. Now why we keep the one side of the column equal to wall thickness is because we don't want the column to project out from the wall. In any room, whenever we are staying, wherever we are working, whenever we have any space, we don't like any element to be projecting out. Similarly, columns, preferably in general, should not be projecting out from the wall. Keeping this in mind, one side of the column is kept equal to the wall thickness. Having got this done, when you have placed the column on the plane, look or check out that the column does not project out of the wall. Assume a standard dimension for the column, that is the cross section. As I have mentioned, one dimension equal to the wall thickness, the other dimension can be slightly larger. Remember, this is only the planning stage. This is the first stage when we are just locating the positions of the column. The design is not done. When the design is done, when the design is carried out, the cross section may change. The cross sectional dimensions may change depending upon the loads coming on the column. So first column we have placed at the first corner shown over here in yellow. We proceed further. In a similar manner, we place the column C2. The column C2, please note, has been placed at a distance of 3.5 meters from the first one. Luckily over here in this plan, we have good dimensions of 3.5 meters by 4 meters. These are ideal dimensions, so one could place the columns easily. Having placed the first column, then we have placed the second column. We are similarly placing the other two columns. If you observe, the orientation of the four columns are in the direction of the long beams, in the direction of the long walls. Obviously, the beams will be coming over the walls. So in the direction of the long walls, in the direction of the long beams, we have placed the columns. So over here, you will be able to visualize, you will be able to see that the length of the beam over the columns in the longer dimension will be reduced because column projects further than the clear internal dimension, the clear internal space within the wall. So that's the reason why the dimension or the length of the long beam, the longer beam, will be reduced.